Peace, peace. Zit here on the mic with internal showers, and what we're gonna get into today is a little bit about how I got into detoxification. Told this story a million times now, and I think it's time to do a video. So next time someone asks me how I got into this, I'm just gonna shoot them this video, and leave it at that and save me some time of explaining this story. Uh, from the curiosity of the people. So, I try not to talk too much about myself, other than the the lessons I've learned from detoxification. But I feel like you might be able to pick something out of this for your benefit. So, before I start, I wanted to give you a little background of myself and how basically how I came into detoxification through pain, like most people do. The wake up call. So, I grew up in this little town out here in Lake Elsinore. I love this place, Southern California. Uh, it's known as a weirdo town. But I grew up out here, growing up just playing with every lizard, every toad, every snake. If I could catch a bird, I would have had that caged up too. I had fish, snakes, rabbits, pretty much anything you could think of. But after that, the the nature stage, I fell into a love for basketball at like age 7. So I took that very seriously, up until I was like 19. That was what I spent most of my time doing. That video games and just making sure my grades were okay so I could play basketball. Always, always real optimistic. Always been that kid, always doing extra push-ups or extra sit-ups because I wanted to be buff, or extra plyometrics because I wanted to jump the highest. I was always in the gym early, most of the time by myself because younger kids don't normally have that work ethic until later, but something I've always had. So I was able to earn a scholarship to a school out here in Riverside. UC Riverside is a Division I school. We didn't win too many basketball games, but we, it was a pretty intense level. It was still a Division I college level, and we practiced pretty hard. But I was able to earn that scholarship at the age of 17. But this is when my body started to break down very, very rapidly for a 17-year-old. Even prior to that, I was rolling my ankles a lot. I was always injured. I had a lot of pains, a lot of headaches, a lot of migraines. I remember having to take a lot of Advil, and just really having a lot of problems with my head, overheating in games. Um, that was just the kind of like the start of the pain or the discomfort and not taking care of yourself. So then I just listen to the coaches, work through it. Don't worry about it. Don't be a bitch. So you keep doing that, and my body just kept breaking down. Nobody told me anything about food. It was just like, get some food in you, get the hell out of there. Get this hot dog in you. It don't matter. Doesn't matter what it is. Just get some food in you, kid. And that's how we kind of came up. Uh, so after doing that for so long, by the time I actually did get to college to play at that level, I had surgery on my bunion because I had kept stubbing it, and it just gave me so much pain. So I just went with the surgery on my left foot, and that took another toll on me because I was even taking like Vicodin for the pain afterwards, which decreased my healing even further. I noticed my healing would slow down a lot after that surgery. I was not recovering well at all. In fact, I never got back to my full potential. That the rest of that year, I was trying and trying and trying, but the amount of pain and the amount of weight because I was trying to get buff, so I could no longer jump as high. And I noticed my body was changing quickly as an 18, 19 year old. So after actually get there, um, I just really then like the emotional the side started to kick in, and the psychological side started to get really, started to really tick at me to where I was like, not wanting to wake up in the morning. I would tell myself every morning, like, I wish I just wouldn't even wake up some days. Not really realizing what I'm telling, putting what energy I'm putting out. I started, feeling like that, just really emotional and hurt, confused. So it got to pretty much a breaking point, and I just said, forget it, man, forget it, and I just quit. I left and turned my phone off and just contemplated, man, what I wanted to do. And at the time, I did not know what I wanted to do. I was talking about the army. I was, the escape route of everybody that doesn't know what they want to do, or, haven't learned enough about themselves. So it was a really confusing time for me because all my life, basketball, and I didn't realize how, you know, being privileged in certain ways where, that cripples you. Because, I didn't even know how to sign up for classes. After I quit, they don't give you the love that they gave you. But I just so happened to get on scholarship. After I signed the scholarship, they have to give it to you for the rest of the year because you signed. So I got my whole freshman year, I got for free, and I got to sit down and learn who I was. I actually got to listen, um, to things that I might have been more attracted to than versus the other things that most of us already know about. We just coming into ourselves now. Um, so that was a big leap for me because I got just finally got to sit down. Never got to sit down and think about what I wanted or who I was. So that was like a revelation in my life. I was on scholarship. I was going to 2 classes a week, and then after feeling so terrible progressively, my sister, she introduced me to Dr. Sabi's nutritional guide in 2011. So this after a year of college, the next year I was going in, I didn't have a scholarship, but things were pretty solid still. I did well financially, and the way the financial aid was set up, I still didn't have to pay for shit. So it was just I had like my own apartment to myself, so I got to separate myself from all other energies. It was great. So she introduced me to the videos and the YouTube videos on him, and I just binge watched them over. I just watched, and it just made sense. It was clicking. I'm like, oh, of course, I've been eating, dead animals. Of course, my body's not healing. And mind you, that I'm eating like 3 chicken breasts a day, like with no seasoning, just to be, just to keep up, just to keep up with the guys instead of just being myself. So I was doing that, and my body's just deteriorating. So I just started the diet. I started doing it, and it was rough because I didn't know how to cook. I didn't know how to prepare food. I didn't know, like, none of the information that's on the internet now is there. Like, quinoa was hard to find. I had to like order that offline, and I just didn't know anything, and I didn't even like half the stuff on the list. So I was eating walnuts, almonds, and walking to class. And then I would cook this big old pot of greens um, when I would come back to the dorm. And that's all I had for like a week. And and I was losing weight fast, but I didn't even notice. So like after like 2 weeks, I started getting people like look at me like they'd be like, bro, like you looking kind of skinny, bro. Are you good? Like I had just quit basketball or I had quit, and then I started smoking. I started smoking weed and getting my hippie on. And they're like, yo, what else are you doing? And I'm like, yo, like, take it easy, man. I'm not I'm trying to better myself, but people don't see that. They just see what they're used to and then what they're not. And people were calling me sick. People were telling me a whole bunch of weird things, disrespectful things, hurtful things, and half the people that I thought were my homies, you just don't hear from them no more. You know, shout out my roommate Dame, by the way, ex roommate Dame. On the homie note, but anyway, so I do that, and I lose 20 pounds in 2 weeks, and I feel great. Like the body odors go away, and I was even have like a sexual impotency problem. It was just no the explosiveness was terrible. Like you know whether I lasted or not would be random. You just never know. And that at 19, in college when it's prime time for a young fella like myself at the time, it was just like it was a blow to the ego. So that's another thing that's what actually helped me to keep going. Like I was, my sexual experience was I was like so glad to see the contrast because I really thought I was headed for a really dark place. And that was something that was instant feedback for me that I was going in the right direction was, the power that I experienced physically. And it was just obvious. Like you just do it and it was easy. For me, it wasn't even that hard. Like I went full fledged. I went from eating chicken breasts 3 times a day, making sure I'm eating hot pockets. I'm going to the 7-Eleven was across the street from my dorm. I'm going, I'm getting ice cream. I'm getting honey buns. Sometimes I didn't, I would just eat honey buns in a day and just chill. So, so going from that and going straight to no meat, no starch, no dairy. I honestly, I didn't really have too many crazy symptoms other than like the detox of the emotions, which was pretty bad, which was more so the worst part. But physically, my body, I have a pretty strong body, so uh, I would feel like more so emotionally on my half that it affects me. But it could be different for it's different for everybody. Um, so I actually started to dabble a little bit into old foods again because people start calling me small, and it really got to me at one point. But then as soon as I did that, all the issues start coming back. The body odors, um, the 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 pain I had in my body. I would do so much chest workout, like like sleeping down sometimes would just be uncomfortable, like up here. And I just finally just gave a lot of that shit up, just trying to go so hard. And I just was like, you know what, man, I'm just gonna be a skinny dude. Like I'm just gonna be whatever it is. I made the decision to just say, forget it. This is what it is. I'll never try to be buff for anyone again, or try to, look pretty for anybody. So uh, that's where the detoxification started, but it did not end there. Uh, it really sparked my interest because of how far I was able to take it versus how much most people take it. I'm kind of like the extremist people say. So I started noticing like forget the body odors, like that's small shit. Like that's just what comes with it. But like the abilities that you can obtain by sticking with this, making this a lifestyle, by making this a culture, by teaching this, to your kids, and your kids understanding how important it is to make sure your body is, kept up to a certain, point, to make sure your emotions is kept up to a certain point because you pass that shit on. So, so I just dive deep into this more and more, and it's endless. This is connected to so much, but I don't care what you're into. I don't care if you're into sports, or if you're into reading, if you're into whatever you're into. Cleaning shit out of your body is gonna give you a benefit. It's gonna give you an advantage versus somebody that's not as clean, versus somebody that's not as sensitive. You're gonna have more access. It doesn't matter what you're doing. Clean yourself out. But I have more gyms just like that because just like my rebirth happened then, I've had more rebirths or more things that have showed me, you know, the power of just watching what you eat. And now it's getting into the power of, you know, not my body now. Now I'm getting out of my body and I'm getting into the power of my mind. So it's all connected, but I'm not comfortable with talking about that just yet. It's just I've just had so many revelations through this thing called detoxification, and um, that's where it started for me, y'all. So I hope you enjoyed that video and gained whatever you could have or should have gained out of it. And I love you all. I hope that love is reciprocated. And once again, it's it here on the mic with internal showers. Peace and love.